Hello, everyone, and welcome to EcoNiti. Today, we are here to kickstart our UGC NET-JRF Accelerator series that is going to go live tomorrow. And the purpose of this particular session is to get you acquainted, is to introduce you to our two mentors and to get you acquainted with them. We will discuss how their personal journey has been, what special, tricks or strategies they have for clearing this exam, right? And we will also try and tap them for some motivation and everything. All right, so let's begin. So we have, as you must have seen in our campaign so far, that we have two mentors with us. We have Manvi Gupta and we have Nancy. So Manvi has done her bachelor. So both are postgraduate educators and both have cleared NET and most recent NET, which means that they are abreast with whatever new or whatever is there currently happening in the exam. So Manvi has done her undergraduation in economics from the Indraprastha College for Women, and she's done a master's from the Delhi University. Nancy has done her BA as well as MA in economics from the Banaras Hindu University. So both of them are super qualified mentors that we have over here. And so let's begin. Let's start getting to know them a little bit more. Let's start with Nancy. Okay, so Nancy, the first question that I want to ask is that what has your personal journey been net-wise? How did you start? I mean, how did it take you multiple attempts? What has been your journey like? And if you have observed the exam for some time, is there some pattern that you observe? Is there some change that you observe in this exam? Nancy?
First of all, thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm very excited for this course. And I realized that over the years, the pattern has been changed very much. And जैसे जैसे years, I mean कि जो डेट का कोर्स that means कि statement wise में questions आ रहे हैं and initially it was one paragraph question and now it was changed toward a multiple statement wise question where multiple options are given A B and A B C and it was become very tricky कि अगर कोई किसी ने अच्छे से इसको thoroughly analyze नहीं किया है तो it will be difficult from the point of student point of view and
Okay, so yeah, but you missed your own personal journey about net economics. We would like to get to know a bit more about
okay.
it.
Okay, I started my journey in 2023 where I prepared for UGC NET and I realized that in first attempt I didn't qualify even NET and going through the years I realized that many questions are repeated over times. बहुत सारे questions repeat हो रहे थे तो मैंने उस सारे टॉपिक्स को अलग अलग किया कि जिस साइड से बहुत ज्यादा टॉपिक्स आ रहे हैं उससे पूछे जा रहे हैं देन उस पे मैंने थॉरली स्टडी किया एंड उसके ऑप्शन मैं क्वेश्चन के साथ साथ उसके ऑप्शंस को भी एनालाइज करती थी कि अगर ये कोई ऑप्शन गलत है तो ये ऑप्शन गलत क्यों है उस ये मतलब ये मुझे बहुत हेल्प किया ये मेरी प्रिपरेशन में देन आई क्वालिफाई वन ऑफ द मोस्ट टफेस्ट पेपर ऑफ द ईयर इट्स दिसंबर 2023
Hmm.
दिस टाइम 2023 में मैंने नेट क्वालिफाई किया था एंड आफ्टर दैट आई रियलाइज कि वो पेपर बहुत ज्यादा हार्ड था ओवर द 10 past years एंड आफ्टर दैट मैंने फिर प्रिपेयर किया एंड चीजें होती चली गई उसके आंसर्स ऑप्शंस को मैं एनालाइज करती रही एंड देन आई क्वालिफाइड नेट एंड अगेन एंड दिस टाइम आई क्वालिफाइड JRF फॉर इट इन 2024 एंड आई रियलाइज इट विल मेरे जो पैटर्न ऑफ स्टडी है जस्ट लाइक कि एनालाइज करना एंड ऑप्शन को एनालाइज करके सारी चीजें गैदर्ड करना इट विल हेल्प मी अ लॉट ड्यूरिंग माय प्रिपरेशन
Wonderful. I mean, that is something coming from a very experienced examinee. So wonderful for us and for our students. Surely it will be. Okay, so now let's get to Manvi. And Manvi, I posed to you the same question. I want to know about how your personal journey was and whether you realized that, there was some pattern emerging and like, what did you do? How was your experience?
So my experience is I would say very twisted, I would say. Back in 2023, I was working in a consulting company, and for my love of economics, I just wanted to take this exam because I just wanted to get in touch with it back. So somebody told me that there is an exam which exists and you can do that. I realized that the exam is in what, 25 or 30 days. And I did not prepare for it at all, being very honest, because my workload was very high. I just went. And when the result came, of course, I did not qualify it. But the good news was that even without touching my books, I and it being one of the toughest exam in the history of net, as Nancy mentioned, December 2023, I just missed it by 5 questions. So
Wow.
that made me really happy that just from the memory of my masters and undergrad, I could do so much. So I decided that whenever life gives me the opportunity again, I will take my exam again. But that would be my last attempt because it's a very stressful journey otherwise. So after EY, I mean, all of my journey which happened, and then when I was back in Delhi, I was already teaching at a college here, and I am still teaching at one. So then I decided that this is going to be my last attempt at net because I did not have any good reason to take it. Everybody just told me that it's always good to have an exam on your plate if you are in the place of academia. So how did I start preparing for it was I just got I had some material with me, borrowed from a friend. I took that material, I took the past years. I saw that material, I took the past years. I had also taken a coaching and I used to pick up one topic per subject. For example, if I'm preparing for micro, I'll pick up consumer theory, I'll do the topic, I will look at the past years, and I will make my own notes. After that, I will do the questions of that particular topic, assess myself, and then move on.
Mm,
Consumer theory done, production done. After few more topics, whole microeconomics is done. Once this whole subject is done, I would give a mock of that particular subject.
mm,
So if I build this chain across all of the subjects, my preparation was done. In the end, I took a few mocks, and I still remember messaging Komal that even after so much of prep, I have not been able to touch the general cutoff in while taking the mock. And she just told me one thing which was super obvious, but I think in stress we are not able to realize the obvious things. She just motivated me to keep doing the questions, and I did that, and I just continued this chain, completing topics, subjects, mocks, going back to my mistakes. One thing which was there, I made a list in my notebook. I wrote the question which was wrong, and I also wrote the reason why it was wrong. And in the reasons were like, I did not know the topic at all. It was a silly mistake. And third reason, I just couldn't do it because I was nervous. And
mm,
8 out of 10 mistakes had the third reason of being nervous. So that's when I realized that even if I know everything, nervousness is going
mm,
to be my biggest weakness. So I decided to work upon it by just surrendering it
mm.
and just doing mocks without any expectations. And I think that worked out well for me.
Wow, I mean that is so insightful, and I'm so happy that you guys will be bringing this experience to the table and to be sharing with it with students. I believe that unless you've been through that journey, मतलब ऊपर ऊपर से चीजें नहीं पता होती हैं इतनी, and I'm so happy to have you both. All right. So the next question that I want to ask is that you both have also mentored students, taught students, and you've taught students from very different backgrounds. So Manvi has taught students which are more urban. Nancy has catered to students that are non-urban. So they are mostly from towns, smaller towns, and probably even the rural area. So I want to know that what your individual experience has been in terms of mentoring these people, and briefly, if we could know that, and then after that, we'll quickly move on to discussing more specifics of the exam. So let's start with Manvi.
So, in my experience, what I have seen is that students, at least the ones I have taught, they want stories and they want concepts to be treated like stories and not abstracts.
Mm,
So, if I, let's, for example, if I'm talking about how government or RBI, let's say RBI can set an interest rate, telling them the graph, saying that interest rate is set and then certain monetary policy is applied, that does not work out for them. It should be treated like a story. And also the fact that they also have to know that if you are saying that interest rate decreasing leads to an increase in money supply, then why not otherwise? So you have to be prepared both ways. One, you need to know the story, and you also need to know not just what's the reason of what's happening, you also have to know the reason of why something else does not happen. So I believe the new learning is more about being intuitive and knowing things from a more holistic perspective rather than just memorizing the models and mugging up the theories.
Perfect, perfect. I think that aligns with what we aim at EcoNiti as well. It aligns perfectly. Nancy, would you say that your experience has been a bit different, dealing with students that who come from a different, socioeconomic background?
यस मैम, एक्चुअली आई सॉ दैट कि स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं वो बेसिकली मैथमेटिक्स से बहुत ज़्यादा डरते हैं, राइट? सो दे आर नॉट कि हमारे बैचलर्स में मास्टर्स में मैथ्स नहीं था, इकोनोमेट्रिक्स नहीं था एंड हमने बस थ्योरी पढ़ा था। तो और वो भी थ्योरी बहुत अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ाया गया था हमारे, क्योंकि मैंने बहुत सारे जस्ट लाइक कि बहुत ही रूरल एरियाज के स्टूडेंट्स मेरे पास आए थे एंड ही वाज जस्ट लाइक कि मेरे मुझे मैम एकदम नहीं आता, इवन मास्टर्स करके भी बोलते हैं मैम मुझे कुछ नहीं आता है। तो दैट्स आई रियलाइज कि ये बहुत बड़ा लैक है एंड इसको टैकल करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, रेदर देन उनको चीजें रटाने की बजाय चीजें अच्छे से समझाना बहुत ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट होता है। तो दैट आई ये हम मैंने इसको मतलब जितना भी पढ़ाया है स्टूडेंट्स को, सो मैंने उनको चीजें बहुत ज्यादा डीपली समझाने की कोशिश की है कि अगर कोई चीज एग्जिस्ट कर रही है तो वो क्यों एग्जिस्ट कर रही है, कोई थ्योरी है तो उसके पीछे रीजन क्या है। तो दैट वुड बी रियली हेल्पफुल कि उनको अच्छे से समझ में आया एंड दैट्स ग्रेट फॉर मी।
Yeah, yeah. I believe that I guess both of you are ultimately sort of saying the same thing because that is that students value understanding which is not delivered to them rather than they just मतलब हम ये अज्यूम करते हैं कि बच्चे सिर्फ रटना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अगर बच्चों को
हम्म।
एक्चुअल में हम कॉन्सेप्ट समझाएं तो बच्चे बहुत रिसेप्टिव होते हैं इस चीज को लेकर.
एग्जैक्ट।
That is true, I guess, across all kinds of students, right? So,
Absolutely.
wonderful, wonderful. All right, so now I want to talk about the UGC NET prep, and I want to ask Nancy that like many students often say, भाई NET syllabus endless है, क्योंकि endless नहीं है, मतलब it is huge, right? So if you had to simplify it, suppose where does a beginner start? What would you say?
मैम फर्स्टली पीवाई क्यूज आपके पास होने चाहिए। व्हेन यू स्टार्ट यू हैव द पीवाई क्यूज एंड सिलेबस विद योरसेल्फ एंड देन यू हैव टू एनालाइज पीवाई क्यूज 5 ईयर का एटलीस्ट, इट वाज एटलीस्ट 5 ईयर्स का आपको एनालाइज करना है कि कौन से टॉपिक सबसे ज्यादा पूछे जा रहे हैं। देन यू हैव टू हाईलाइट दैट पोर्शन कि इस टॉपिक से ज्यादा पूछे जा रहे हैं, उसको थॉरली मतलब उसको अगर पढ़ भी रहे हैं तो वो कंसेप्ट को थॉरली पढ़ें। उसको
हाँ,
पढ़ने से क्या होगा कि हमें उस वो टॉपिक तो क्लियर होगा ही, उसके उससे रिलेटेड टॉपिक्स भी क्लियर हो जाएंगे। जस्ट फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम कोई ट्रेड थ्योरी पढ़ रहे हैं, न्यू न्यू ट्रेड थ्योरी, उसमें प्रोडक्ट साइकिल के क्वेश्चंस आ गए, राइट? तो प्रोडक्ट साइकिल इज एन न्यू ट्रेड थ्योरी, तो प्रोडक्ट साइकिल तो पढ़ा ही मैंने, न्यू ट्रेड थ्योरी के सारे थ्योरीज पढ़ लिए
right.
हैं। तो
Hmm.
अगर कोई बिगनर है तो सबसे पहले उसको सिलेबस अपने पास रखना है, देन पीवाईक्यूज एंड हाईलाइट द टॉपिक। मोस्टली हमें 100% सिलेबस कवर नहीं करना है, 70% जो पूछे जाते हैं
Hmm.
उसे ही देखना है, उसी से ही वो जम्बल्ड करके क्वेश्चंस एंड उसी को ट्विस्ट करके उसी से क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं। अगर थोड़ा ज्यादा हार्ड आता है तो यू गो थ्रू दी हायर अच्छे टेक्स्ट बुक्स पे आप जा सकते हैं, जस्ट लाइक कि इनिशियली अहूजा एंड कुर्सियानीज वाज गुड, बट इफ क्वेश्चन हार्ड आ रहे हैं तो आप वेरिएंट पे स्विच कर सकते हो, देन उस और अच्छे बुक्स पे स्विच कर सकते हो। सो अगर जो भी प्रिपेयर कर रहा है तो दैट टू थिंग्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। फर्स्ट थिंग इज सिलेबस विथ
Hmm.
योरसेल्फ एंड सेकंड इज पीवाईक्यूज।
Awesome. Oh, yeah, I think that is very helpful, especially about the part के पूरा syllabus हमको conquer नहीं करना है. We have to be very smart about it. So related question to you only, Nancy, that how should students balance conceptual understanding and solving PYQs? and test series questions.
ओके मैम, पीवाई क्यू जब भी सॉल्व कर रहे हैं हम, सो आप उसको अपने जो भी टॉपिक, जैसे मैंने फॉर एग्जांपल एक टॉपिक पढ़ा कंज्यूमर थ्योरी एंड उसके पीवाई क्यूज किए, एंड मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि वो पीवाई क्यूज जो टॉपिक पढ़ा है उससे कुछ क्वेश्चंस मतलब मेरे गलत हो रहे हैं, राइट? तो वी कैन गो थ्रू अ थॉरली दिस टॉपिक कि कहाँ गलत हो रहा है, एनालाइज करना है। ये एक मतलब जस्ट लाइक अ सर्कल यू हैव टू गो कि आपको टॉपिक
Back and
रिवाइज
forth.
करना,
Yeah, yeah,
हाँ,
yeah.
पैटर्न रिवाइज करना है, एंड यू हैव टू गो थ्रू द टॉपिक अगेन अगेन, देन गो थ्रू योर नोट्स। ऐसे
Hmm.
आपको सर्कल।
Mm. I believe that is very important. That is what Nancy also talked in the beginning कि हम कई बार बच्चे होते हैं जो कि PBPYQs ही किए जा रहे हैं, टेस्ट सीरीज किए जा रहे हैं, they never revisit the topic. Then there are students like me, when I used to give exams, I used to feel कि पहले मैं पूरा syllabus कर लूँ, फिर हम question करेंगे, and at the end I never had the time to do questions. So it has to be a
यस।
balance. And if you lack, you keep on doing just one thing, you will never be able to get whatever exam you're
यस।
done. So yes, very, very important. So Manvi, my next question is to you that can you share a couple of mistakes that you did that you see it now while preparing for the exam, or you have seen students making some mistake? This is like one mistake I shared. It was my own mistake. Anything else that you feel that you have observed in you or in students?
Not postponing the attempt. Everybody thinks that there will be a magical day when they will be ready with the entire syllabus. I would like to say, as Nancy mentioned, if you even know 70% of the topics, you might just have a very good attempt.
Yeah.
So, trying to aim perfection is, I think, one mistake which I was doing. I could have given the January 2023 or January 2025, sorry, January 2025 attempt as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
But I could not because I just always thought that I am not prepared enough. But in hindsight, मैंने ऐसा कुछ नया नहीं पढ़ा था उन next 5 months में. मैंने बस खुद को mentally prepare किया था. So पहला, आपका कुछ जाएगा नहीं if you take the attempt. Just
Right.
take it.
यस।
Second mistake, I waited way too long to start the mocks. I started mocks 20 days before the main exam. And I am very privileged to have not just academic support from people like you, but also emotional support with family. I literally, I had my brother to give me a whole TED talk with respect to how the world will not collapse if you couldn't get a good score in a mock. अगर मेरे पास ये resources नहीं होते तो मैं शायद give up कर देती. तो अपने आप को उस पैनिक मोड में ना ले जाना इस द की इज कि आप मॉक्स बहुत पहले स्टार्ट कर दो, बेशक आपका सिलेबस आधा ही हुआ है, क्योंकि वो बाकी का बचा हुआ आधा सिलेबस आप मॉक्स के थ्रू कर लोगे. And
Right.
this was also coming from a space where I just wanted to be way too perfect.
Yeah.
So one, like if I summarize it, relax a little, take
Mm.
your attempt, and second, balance it out, start your mocks at least 2 months before the main exam.
Mm. Thank you, Manu. And again, just wanting to know a little bit more, is there a particular area that students tend to underestimate, or you tended to underestimate, but actually it mattered a lot? Was there something? But I guess you believe you both of you did analyze the questions, and I believe that that kind of mistake you did not make. But have you observed people make it like सोच रहे कि अरे math में क्या ही आएगा, or econometrics छोड़ दो ऐसा? Have you observed it which you can prevent other students from making that mistake?
I did the mistake. So I had this impression that main subjects होते हैं micro, macro, maths and stats.
Hmm.
But मैंने एक दिन बैठ के क्या करा, I took all of the question papers and मैंने total करा कि across years micro से कितने questions आए हैं, macro से कितने आए हैं, last 5 years का करा मैंने.
Hmm.
And development economics had higher questions than stats and maths.
Yeah.
And I realized that the subject which I was treating like an optional thing to prepare all was just at third rank after micro and macro. And development economics एक ऐसा subject होता है जिससे हम out of touch हो जाते हैं अगर हमने वो masters में नहीं पढ़ा है. That
True.
was one of the most challenging things which hit me when I did that past year analysis. because डेवलपमेंट इकोनॉमिक्स के क्वेश्चंस का लेवल भी हाई है अकॉर्डिंग टू मी एज कम्पेयर टू माइक्रो एंड मैक्रो. दे विल गिव यू वेरी सिमिलर थियोरीज और वो पूछेंगे कि इस थ्योरी का मेन टेक अवे क्या है. आप इंडिविजुअलिस्टिकली थ्योरी को देखते हो तो आपके पास एक टेक अवे होता है कि कैपिटल लीड्स टू ग्रोथ बिकॉज उससे इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही है. बट अगर वो और डिटेल टेक अवे में चले जाएं दैट इट इज जस्ट नॉट कैपिटल विच लीड्स टू ग्रोथ, ये किसने कहा था, देन यू रियलाइज कि आपको कितना डेप्थ में पढ़ना है डेवलपमेंट इकोनॉमिक्स.
Yeah. Very,
Another
very.
thing I add, ma'am, one of the
Yes.
thing is कि बहुत सारे लोग जो है environmental and public economics को underestimate करते हैं,
Okay.
क्योंकि over the years I realized कि मैं जब अब अपने अटेम्प्ट दे रही थी तो फिर मैंने इन्वायरमेंटल एंड पब्लिक इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं पढ़ के गई थी. तो मैंने बहुत ज्यादा फोकस किया था कि यार मैक्रो माइक्रो एंड स्टैट्स एंड
Same.
इकोट्रिक्स एंड
Yes.
ऑल. लेकिन जब मैंने अटेम्प्ट दिया उसमें इतने ज्यादा इन्वायरमेंटल के क्वेश्चन पूछ दिया ना, एंड इन द एग्जाम आई वाज लाइक अब क्या करूं. दे आर आस्किंग दी ईयर्स एंड ईयर्स कि ये कब आया, ये सारे इवेंट्स कैसे हुए. तो हम किसी भी टॉपिक या किसी भी सब सब्जेक्ट को नेग्लेक्ट नहीं कर सकते इस एग्जाम में. क्या पता, हु नोस कि बहुत ज्यादा समटाइम्स दे आस्क मोर इन इंडियन इकोनॉमिक्स, समटाइम दे आस्क मोर इन्वायरमेंटल पब्लिक फाइनेंस. ये ऐसे नेग्लेक्टेड पोर्शन है जो कि स्टूडेंट छोड़ देते हैं कि यार हो जाएगा कर लूंगी, बट ऐसा नहीं होता है.
Yeah, I believe students, you will be able to prevent students from doing that. That's the whole idea, right? Okay. Now I would like to talk about, and I would like you guys to talk about that the accelerator series that we have. What are we doing differently? Okay, again, Nancy, if you could tell us that what are we doing it differently, because you guys have also prepared for it, so you must have also took some sort of help, कुछ coaching या कुछ test series लिया होगा जिससे कि you realize कि कहीं ना कहीं कुछ gap है. So I would like to ask you that मतलब to tell the students कि हम क्या अलग कर रहे हैं.
ओके मैम, इन आवर सीरीज हमने क्वेश्चन पीवाईक्यूज के क्वेश्चन को बहुत ज्यादा इन डेप्थ में एनालाइज किया है. अब जैसे मैं कोई एक थ्योरी पढ़ा रही हूँ, कंज्यूमर थ्योरी एंड प्रोडक्शन थ्योरी, अगर कोई टॉपिक आया, क्वेश्चन आया, तो उस टॉपिक को हमने कवर भी किया है. एंड उससे रिलेटेड सारे जो टॉपिक है, आस पास के सारे टॉपिक्स को उसमें कवर अप किया गया है. और जितना उस टॉपिक में डीप जा सकते थे, जितने क्वेश्चन बन सकते हैं उस टॉपिक से, इस पे ज्यादा फोकस किया गया है. आई वुड रियलाइज कि ये जितना भी मैंने देखे हैं वीडियोस, देयर इज नथिंग कि उन्होंने इतना डेप्थ दिया है, बिकॉज ये बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्वेश्चन आस पास के टॉपिक से ही पूछे जाते हैं. उस एक टॉपिक उठा लिया, उसी के आस पास के ही वो घूमते रहेंगे, हमेशा उसी के आस पास के पूछेंगे. तो हमने उसके सारी चीजों को कवर अप किया है अपने पीवाईक्यू सेशन में. एक टॉपिक उसके रिलेटेड टॉपिक्स को भी डिस्कस किया है. तो दैट वुड बी अ ग्रेट थिंग जो हमने स्टार्ट किया है.
Yes, yes, correct. So how would, so Manvi, if I can ask you that you and the team, so basically both of you and with help from me, how would you approach question setting, right? So we want to make sure that it's both exam relevant as well as conceptually enriching. So how do you take care of that? What do you do like, extra to,
So, I mean, I'll answer that question with an example. Let's say in 2021, I just saw recently there is a question about ISLM curve where IS is there is a shift which is occurring in the IS curve. When I see that question, it is not that a student can know just the shift of IS and he is done. This question is giving me insights that ISLM is a very important part of the syllabus. ISLM ka derivation is in the syllabus. Questions with respect to policies can come. Questions related to real life scenarios that something is happening, what policy should be occur, and how can the shift in the ISLM would look. So when you see a question, you try to sit in the examiner's head that what do they think is relevant for students to know. So naturally, ISLM, as I said, its derivation, why it shifts, its shape, real life scenarios with ISLM, the economists which gave ISLM, that is Hicks, are there any economists who challenge the assumptions of ISLM? So if I summarize my answer, every question gives you the psychology of the examiner, and if you sit in their head, you can come up with at least 15 questions with one question of the examiner. And when with those 15 questions, you can make it in such a manner that you are not just making them very easy for the students to answer. You can include such tricks in the question, I would say, that a person who has conceptual clarity can only answer it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonderful. I mean, shows how long you're thinking. Awesome. Okay, Nancy, I want to ask the next question to you. I want you to tell our audience a bit about the mentorship aspect that we have. This is another thing that we have, which I believe, I mean, we have not seen it to be offered systematically by any other place. But mentorship is very important. Manvi was just talking about how she had the support of her brother. Many of us do not. And a lot of times, the mentorship that we require also has to come from someone who is qualified for in that particular field to be able to understand कि मतलब क्या difficulty आ रही है, क्या lacking हो रहा है. So, Nancy, could you please elaborate a bit on this aspect?
ओके, आई वाज एक्सप्लेन विद द हेल्प ऑफ माय एग्जांपल कि जब मैंने नेट की प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट की थी तो आई वाज जस्ट लाइक जीरो कि मुझे कुछ नहीं आता कि मैं प्रिपरेशन कैसे करूँ। तो किसी ने मेरे को बोला कि जस्ट लाइक कि यू डिड द पी वाई क्यूज। तो मैंने 2-3 साल के बस पी वाई क्यूज ही लगा रही थी और मुझे कंसेप्ट नहीं पता था। मैं वो ऑप्शन को रटती थी। आई वाज जस्ट लाइक कि मैं सारे ऑप्शंस को रट रही हूँ कि ये भी पढ़ना है, ये इसके ऑप्शंस हो गए। लेकिन मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि जब मेरा फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट नहीं हुआ तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि यार नो, आई नीड अ मेंटर। तो मुझे कि इसकी प्रिपरेशन कैसे करनी है, आई नीड अ मेंटर। तो फिर आई कनेक्टेड टू वन ऑफ माय प्रोफेसर इन माय कॉलेज एंड दे सेड कि ऐसे नहीं, इसको प्रिपरेशन क्वेश्चन को मतलब आप पहले टॉपिक को अच्छे से पढ़ो, फिर देन सॉल्व दी पीवाईक्यूज एंड देन रियलाइज कि आप कहाँ गलती कर रहे हो। और अगर आप पढ़ने के बाद गलती कर रहे हो तो फिर उस टॉपिक को फिर से पढ़ो और उसको और अच्छे से पढ़ो ताकि जब आप दोबारा कर रहे हो तो उसमें गलती ना हो। तो ऐसे करके मैंने अपने सारी मतलब मिस्टेक्स को रेक्टिफाई करने की कोशिश की कि आज सारे ऑप्शंस मेरे क्यों गलत हो रहे हैं और कहाँ मैं लैग कर रही हूँ। तो व्हेन आई नीड सजेशन मैं सर को फोन कर दी थी एंड आई कॉल यूज टू कॉल सर, मेरे से क्वेश्चन नहीं हो पा रहे थे। दे वर लाइक कि करो, वो चीजें हो जाएंगी, एनालाइज करो। पीवाईक्यूज गलत हो रहे हैं, इनिशियली बहुत ज्यादा गलत होते थे। आई वाज 40-50 आउट ऑफ 100 40 सही हो रहे हैं। तो ऐसे ऐसे तो मैंने एनालाइज किया कि सारी चीजें, क्वेश्चन एक साइड लिखा मैंने, जहां गलती हो रही थी जो टॉपिक्स थे उसको मैंने अच्छे से पढ़ा। एंड जैसे जैसे मेरे प्रोफेसर कहते थे कि उसको थॉरली पढ़ो एंड पीवाईक्यूज जाओ एंड देन सारी चीजें करो। फिर उसके बाद मैंने
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah. So I believe what we can take away from this is that we are living in a time जहाँ पे हमारे पास there's a flood of online resources. लेकिन अगर mentor नहीं है who can like not only guide you but also pick you up when you are feeling low, pick you up when you just are feeling कि मतलब बहुत overwhelming लग रहा है, नहीं कैसे करें, कैसे आगे बढ़ें. That is something that is very important, and a mentor who has been in those shoes becomes extremely valuable in such a scenario. Okay, let's get to um, looking at. So I believe that that kind of wraps up whatever differently we are offering here. One thing that I want to add over here is that because these two mentors have clearly told us of giving due importance to every topic, and of giving due import every section like micro macro सारे sections को important देना है और उसके जो भी एक topic है उसके अंदर you need to be able to solve everything related to that topic. So just to be able to make sure कि हमारे students भी ऐसे करें, हमने for every section we will have sectional tests but we will also have questions topic wise, specific topic wise, which will make sure कि मतलब कोई भी topic किया है तो it will give you so much confidence कि मतलब now I know this topic, right? So that is something that both of our mentors have worked very hard to create those questions for you, to get into the head of the examiner, to they have analyzed the PYQs themselves. सब कुछ खुद से किया है, सारे questions खुद से set किए हैं. So the kind of hard work that went into it will transform, or will transform the way you are preparing, and it will definitely translate into success that you can make. So now I would just like to ask a couple of closing questions to each one of you. I would like to ask Nancy, is that like what would be your message to students who are appearing for the December 2025 attempt? Just any
Okay.
message that you could give them.
मैम आई वुड से कि पेपर्स PYQs को अच्छे से करो एंड डोंट नेग्लेक्ट द पेपर वन.
Hmm.
इट्स द बिगेस्ट मिस्टेक अ स्टूडेंट कैन डू कि पेपर वन को भूल ही जाते हैं कि पेपर वन तो कर हो जाएगा. नहीं, ऐसे नहीं होता है. बिकॉज इफ यू वांट टू गेट JRF देन पेपर वन इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट. सो PYQs अच्छे से, क्योंकि क्वेश्चंस आर मोस्टली कम फ्रॉम दीज ईयर. अभी 2-3 साल से मैंने एनालाइज किया कि क्वेश्चंस आपके टॉपिक से ही आ रहे हैं जो कि प्रीवियस ईयर में पूछे गए. बस ट्विस्ट है, लिटिल बिट मोर हार्डर और लिटिल बिट मोर इजियर. So
Hmm.
you can try to analyze PYQs as many as can you. Then
Okay.
after, paper one is one of the game changer. You cannot neglect it. These are very two important things you have to keep in mind while preparing, giving this exam,
Okay.
2025 attempt.
So just to add, paper one, you will also have two full-size mocks of paper one as well in our accelerator series. My last question is to Manvi. Is that if a student is struggling with motivation, what would you say to them today? Because it is say 2 months away. So if a student is struggling with motivation in terms of ability, in terms of just to मतलब जैसे इस बार की करें क्या या अगली बार कर लें, or feeling underconfident, what would you say to them?
I mean, if we are lacking motivation, then sometimes, in my experience, the reason behind lacking motivation is fear of failing.
Hmm.
So just to tell yourself that even if when I don't show up, I am still not getting any marks. If I'm, let's talk in statistical terms. If I don't show up, what is your chances? What are your chances of clearing the exam? Zero. But if you show up, the chances increase. So just show up. इतना खुद को बोलोगे, अपने आप फियर चला जाएगा और मोटिवेशन आ जाएगी. बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेट करने की जरूरत नहीं है.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so that is all that I wanted to ask you guys, and I think all of us now understand the kind of hard work and effort you have put in for clearing the exam yourself, and now having that experience and having that knowledge in hindsight, the kind of hard work you're putting into preparing this course for them. So I'm sure that the students would value it. And for the audience, I would like to say that I hope that this conversation was useful to you, and it gave you a glimpse of how we do things at EcoNiti, how at we put the students first, how we focus on conceptual clarity, right? And how we focus on accessible mentorship. So yeah, so I believe that's it. Our accelerator series is going to go live tomorrow, and please enroll for it. I will put all the relevant information in the description. Nancy is going to begin tomorrow with microeconomics, and I hope to see a lot of you enrolling for this course, and I hope to see an equal number of you qualifying NET December 2025 in this attempt itself. So with that, let's close this session, and thank you so much, both of you, for taking out time to do this.
Thank you for having us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.